congratulations on this film. It's very thrilling and well written. How did you get the part? And was there a lengthy audition involved with it?
There actually really was. The funny thing is so Marissa Ross was the casting director of this film, and she's just phenomenal. And I have to say how appreciative I am being the level that I was at and being called in for the lead of this film. And I really appreciate her belief in me. So I went in, I read for her. I read for Ravine. I had a chemistry read. And then it was also, I had a chat with Ravine afterwards. And he really wanted to know what I thought about the script and what, if I wanted to be involved in this project. It was very important to him to, I think, compile a group of artists who wanted to work together. And had a common goal in mind. I remember at one point he asked me, before I got cast, he said, psychologically, this is going to be really challenging. Can you do it? And I remember sitting across from him saying, yes. And in my mind going, I hope so. But yeah, it was auditioning, but it was also, I think, very important to Ravine that there was a connection between the script, the character, and our common goal.
How about you, Gideon? Was the process lengthy or pretty quick for you?
Reasonably straightforward, I guess. I put, because I wasn't in. I was in. Where was I at the time? I was in LA at the time. I had to think about that for a moment. I was in LA at the time and put myself on tape, and I sent that off, and and then there was a phone call and some sort of negotiation and stuff, and and also had a nice conversation with Ravine as well, which is always really, really nice. It's reasonably rare for non big name actors to have that kind of conversation with the director before taking on a project. So that's always nice, and that gave me the confidence that there was someone that I could have a collaborative process with. Yeah.
And I know a little inside information that maybe Gid doesn't even know. That Gid was the first one cast. And once Ravine told me, once he saw Gid's tape, he knew he could make the film. Just so you know, he just knew that he was so amazing in this role. He was like, okay, I can make this film. So I was not that.
It's a role reversal film, which we're seeing more and more of, but you don't hold back. I mean, even as an actress, I don't think you're holding anything back.
Well, what a huge compliment. Thank you so much. That was a goal of mine, to be really honest, because of the subject matter and honoring the scripts. I determined I would never hold back. And that was a goal. So thank you so much for saying that.
Gideon, one of the layers in the film, it does talk about suicide, and it's reaching national and worldwide, global, pandemic proportions. Approaching that, what was your research like?
I think what is interesting about Gabriel, the character I play, is where he initially sort of starts out, at this call center, trying to help people who are considering suicide, and then it becomes a real personal quest for him, and he, is so invested that he sort of falls off the deep end, to a degree. I mean, for me, I know that in dark points in my life, I've thought about things like this. I've certainly never tried anything, but I do know personally, like those moments where I've thought, if I could just like end everything, it would be easier than facing what I'm facing in that given moment. Unfortunately, I've seen those moments pass. And I've also had good friends who've lost people. One of my best friends lost her sister to suicide, and For me, I think it was sort of just leaning into that place, and how um, relatable, I guess, those feelings are, and then the notion of being so invested or obsessed with trying to fix something, where you're sort of blinkered to actually seeing anything else other than, I have to fix this thing, I have to fix you, I have to make things better. So for me, it was leaning into that.
Really quickly, I just want to say thank you, Gideon, for being so honest. I think that's the first step for everybody out there,
Oh
is
yeah.
that they know they're not alone. And they definitely aren't, especially in the world of actors. We feel everything, and feeling everything can be glorious one day, and it can be really hard another day. And the biggest thing for me is I just wanted to put a light on the people that have suicidal thoughts or manage depression. These are some of the strongest people in the world. It's not temporary, and they fight it. And so I just applaud that. That was really important for me to show as well. So I actually am blessed to have very close friends who are psychiatrists and therapists, and I spoke directly with them, and actually Ravine allowed me to show them the script and say, is there anything in here that's outlandish? Is there anything in here that is speaking truth to you? Also, I read books, firsthand accounts of people that had manic depression. Um, and also, listening, to our hearts. We all have this beautiful rainbow of emotions in us. And I think that's what's really great about Victor's character, Gideon's character, is he brings so much depth to it, and that we don't judge somebody on one level. I think there's all these serial killer movies out there. I think what makes us a little bit different, and I hope people really enjoy, is you really do get to see into our characters' backgrounds and what led us to the certain points that we came to. But yeah, I mean, I too have known people who either lost somebody to suicide, or I've known people that I've lost to suicide. And I don't think any of us has to look that far. We're losing 22 people a day to suicide. It is a pandemic. And I think one of the biggest reasons is because we are allowing a very silly stigmatism to hinder us from discussing mental health.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we close our eyes and bury our heads like ostriches sometimes, and that doesn't help anybody. It really doesn't. And people are scared to bring up the conversation because they don't want that answer. And I think we need to change that immediately. Otherwise, we're losing a lot of children, and my God, there's no reason to.
Right.
I'm going to change the structure of our conversation for a moment. Gideon, you do a hell of a lot of voice work.
Yeah.
How does voice work affect your or inform your acting?
That's a good question. I think they sort of feed each other in terms of voice work versus on camera. Most of what I do voiceover wise is for video games and animation, and so it is they are largely acting roles versus sort of commercial and promo stuff. And what's kind of liberating is I can be cast in a role in a voice function where it's not determined by how I look, so I can play far broader than how I look in the voice realm. What's fun about VO is that you get to just paint with the voice, so sort of finding character and age and that sort of thing. So I forget the question now, but
I was just asking, how does it inform your on-screen acting?
Yeah, I think certainly the other way definitely works. Definitely my sort of training as like a theater actor in like drama school informs the VO. I guess in terms of the VO, the other way around, it certainly helped, tune my ear to, certain accents and that kind of thing. And I guess a little more sort of nuanced, perhaps. Um, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Heidi. I haven't forgotten about you. I've got
Oh,
I've
I'm
got
fine.
I've got two questions for you. One, acting in front of a camera and acting on stage are two different things. I mean, one you're playing to the back of the house, the other one you're playing, to a
In the
lens.
front. Yeah.
Do you have to stop and check yourself every so often to see that you're not over?
Absolutely. I think that that's a brilliant question. And to be really honest, because Chicago is filled with such amazing group of theater actors, it's one of the biggest notes I try to give my actor friends when they're making the crossover from theater into TV. Yeah, I mean, it's all listening and reacting, but completely different. I mean, it's like the difference of going to a wedding or a funeral. You know what I mean? Like you just wear your emotions completely differently. And there are things that are so exhilarating about the stage. But really, last production I got to do is at the Mark Taper with Annette Bening and Alfred Molina. And that was amazing. I mean, Alfred Molina is just so
He
mind-blowingly.
he is an incredible talent.
Oh,
He is a national treasure.
he really is. And I have to tell you, he is also one of the nicest people in the world. I couldn't speak higher of him. And every night he's brilliant, and every night it's genuine. He never repeats himself just for the purpose of repeating himself. He is so present. On stage, I mean, so I say on stage, I actually meant on a sound stage.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do now. You know what I mean? So I do TV and film, and I love that too. I love being so intimate, and yeah, so it is completely different. And I haven't done a lot of crossing over because of that reason more recently, but yeah, I mean, it's fun. They're both great, but very different.
And my second question is, with a name like Johanningmeier, has some agent ever asked you just to change your last name?
Do you know what's great? So I am one of those rare birds that did Los Angeles first and then did Chicago. Most people do Chicago and then they do Los Angeles. But I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, and I was like, I'm going to LA. And every single agent tried to change me in some way. You know what I mean? Whether it was my name, for a while I went by Heidi Meyer. But I have to tell you, I swear that and that is my real last name. So having my authentic last name has brought up great discussions in the room with directors and producers that I would not have had. They're like, what is your name? And we end up talking, and they see that I'm not just an actor. They get to see my personality as a person. So I'm really proud that I've held on to it now.
See, Gideon Emery is a cool name. I mean, I think it's replaced Brent Lewis for me as a cool name.
It is a good name.
Yeah, I can take no credit for it. Completely my parents. I know when I was growing up, I wanted like a monosyllabic first name, like a Matt. It just seemed like sort of a stronger. Yeah, similar to Heidi. I mean, I'm glad that I hung on to it. I do remember, funny enough, the first week of first year of drama school. We were I think we were in design class, but whatever. Somebody came forward and interrupted the class and gave us all circulated around the sheet of paper, which was basically you would write down your real name and then you would write down your stage name, which henceforth you would be known as, right? I was like, oh man, like you've just left school, and now, and then it wasn't like they told us about this last week where we could spend some time thinking about it and like, oh, what would be a really good. So literally it was sort of sprung on us and then it was working its way around and we were sort of trying to listen to like sort of the lecture at the same time. And then the thing came around to me. It's like, I can't just stumble into oh, I'll come up with something spur of the moment. So I stuck with my own name and I'm glad in retrospect.
Glad you did too. That's a great name. I changed my name for a time to Tony Chase when I was doing a lot of radio, but I couldn't lie. My mother was upset. So
Late Night with Tony Chase.
Tony Chase. A kiss on the face from Tony Chase. My gosh, it's such a great honor and pleasure to talk to you both. You have such a great cast and crew.
Thank you. And we really appreciate, you reaching out and us doing this, because this is an indie film and it's a little bit like David and Goliath. We're not a big studio film, and so you helping us promote us is great. Right now we are number 17 on Apple TV. What to watch? We're
gonna get it up to number one.
All right,
we'll do that.
That's good.
But again, I'm telling people that this is such a ride.
Thank you.
With Heidi in the Liam Neeson role. I'm just kidding.
But no, I'll take it. I will take that.
But it is just a really fun, edge of your seat, white knuckle film, and you guys again did such a great job. Right to your gaffers, your ads, everyone involved with this film seemed to really, really love it, and it shows in the final piece. It does. And so, please watch it. It's called 100 Days to Live. It is everywhere on VOD, but make it number one on Apple, right?
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I love
it. I'll just say, Tony, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you want money, I don't have much.
Oh, you got to record a phone.
Particular set of skills. Skills that make talking pictures a nightmare for people like you. Thanks, it's been a pleasure. Yeah,
it has been a real
across the board. He's so talented across the board. So yeah.
And listen, if this wasn't where we are today with the pandemic, I'd be taking you both out to lunch at this point. So
nice, but no deep dish for me. No deep dish.
No thin crust.
Lunch to drinks. I love it.
Well, come out to Sundance next year, and we'll get together.
Sounds great.
I'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, do another one of these. 101.
101.
There you go. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to end the recording.